Simon, Max gone. Will he be on the flight to Perth this week?
Yeah, no, he'll definitely be on the flight. He's definitely going to be playing. He's fully fit. He's training today. He's out there doing some centre bounce work at the moment, and he's firing. He's on all cylinders and wants to get out there and perform well for the club.
Is there any consideration giving the flight, given where West Coast sit? I know you won't be alluded to that, but resting him, given how important he is to you?
I think from a high performance perspective, if there's any player that's got an injury, we won't play them. But that's not the case, and we're not in the phase of resting players. We want to build our cohesion, we want to build our connection with our footy team and play our best footy, and Max is a big part of that. So we certainly wouldn't risk anyone that had any injury and put them out there. There's no question about that, but we're not in the process of resting players, and as I said, we want to make sure we play our best footy and head to Perth with our best team possible.
Philosophically, Simon, is that, you've obviously said there that you're sort of against resting players, but philosophically, how do you wrestle with that, given it can have benefits later in the year, and you've got such a good start, obviously, with lots of wins under your belt?
Yeah, look, it's round 9. There's so much footy ahead of us in the season, and as I said, there'll be opportunities in time to look at our situation, look at our injury list and look at our players and all that sort of stuff. But at the moment, it's round 9. There is so much footy in front of us. There's so much improvement that we need as a footy team to continue to look at and get better at, and cohesion that we need to build within our side. So that's something we're not even considering at this point of the stage in the season. We're a footy club that continues to manage our players as best we can. And as I said, if there's players that are sore or they're injured, we certainly won't be putting any player at risk in that situation, but we're not in the process of resting players.
Were you happy with the cohesion of your forward line over the weekend, and do you anticipate making any changes to that this week?
Yeah, look, obviously it's a talking point all the time. I thought our forwards performed really strongly on the weekend. I thought Tommy McDonald's form and Ben Brown were really strong in the air. There's no question about that, and it worked really well on the weekend. So I can't foresee any changes in that space, albeit that it's something we're monitoring closely. We want to have a really dynamic group forward to centre. And they all play important roles, and we know Sam Weedon once again performed really strongly in the VFL, as did Mitch Brown. We kicked 6 goals, so there's continued pressure for selection in that space, and one will continue to monitor and make sure we get the best combination moving forward.
Hey Simon, I guess this is probably up to you how much you divulge here, and I'm hoping you can just play it up and maybe give us a little insight. But how do you motivate the guys each week? Obviously, it must be on your mind each week. How do you get the guys up and keep going? And obviously, winning is a big part of that. But is there anything sort of different each week? Are you pulling from other sports? Are you sort of pulling from different areas to creatively try and motivate the group, or are the players doing that themselves?
I know, we look at all different things. We look at different sports, we look at storytelling, we look at theming in a whole range of different areas, depending on our situation, depending on the type of team that we're coming up against, and the opportunities that sit within that. And that can change from week to week, but we certainly have a bigger picture as well about what we're really moving towards and how we're trying to be. And this week will be no different. We've got some challenge heading over there. We've still got some things that we're working on to be at our best. But there's some things that will continue just to drive and motivate with our group. But what we do have is we do have a group that are very internally motivated. We've got a whole group of competitors that want to perform well every week and want to go out there and put their best performance on show. And from a coaching perspective, that's a pleasure to coach, because you've got a really driven group that want to be a team of competitors and get better.
Simon, there's big news out of Sydney. Leon Cameron has apparently quit. Just wondering if you've heard anything about that, and what's your reaction?
I haven't heard that, but if that's to be the case, it's always a sad day in footy, I reckon, when the quality of person of a Leon Cameron steps away. 10 years as a senior coach is a long time. It's a very tough industry, and what I do know about Leon is he's an outstanding person and an outstanding coach. And it's obviously a sad day when these things transpire, and I'm sure as a coaching fraternity we'll reach out to Leon and get that support around him and make sure. But I'm sure it won't be the last we see of Leon Cameron in our industry. He's a fine coach and a fine person.
Adam Uze has been open, I guess, in recent months or even recent weeks, saying he'd be keen to explore a senior opportunity. If he was to come to you and say that, he's part of a process such as the Giants sort of in season, how would you handle that, given he's sort of, helping you guys towards the flag?
We've got all our coaches, that have got the ability to become senior coaches in time. Adam Uze, Troy Chaplin, Greg Stafford. We've got a whole range of different guys that would be in that space. As a footy club, we want to see our people progress in whatever that looks like, and we're very open about helping them progress to where they want to get to. Adam, I'm sure, will be a fine senior coach when that time comes, but from a process perspective, we're always open to our people exploring those things and progressing their careers at the right time.
And Simon, I think you mentioned last year sort of on this issue for, say, an Adam Uze or one of your assistants did get a role for next year, that they continue in their current position and see that out. You're still of that view that they can complete that role for this year, even if they were moving on next year already? Yeah,
absolutely. We've got an amazing trust with our coaching staff and our people that work within our footy club, and it's the industry that we work in. That they work for the Melbourne Footy Club and they want the best for the Melbourne Footy Club, and they're competitors as well and they want to win. So to see that journey through with their footy club is really important, and we'd welcome that.
And heading back to Optus Stadium, some good memories. I guess do they start on the flight over even? You guys start talking, sort of reminiscing about some things there and getting back there. I mean, it must bring back some good memories.
Oh, there's some incredibly fond memories. Obviously, getting back to Perth, it's a great stadium to play at, and the people of Perth embraced our footy club, and we certainly will never forget that. And we got a lot of supporters that are over there, and a lot of our players are from Perth. So to get back and have their families and that back around the footy club, as I said, with some really fond memories, is fantastic. But it certainly doesn't change our process. We still got to come out and perform at an oval that we enjoy playing at.
And has anyone at the club, players or coaches, been impacted by COVID or illness this week?
No, we're all clear this week. So, we probably had our 2 or 3 weeks of a run there where we had, we were impacted. But as we sit here currently, we've got no one impacted, and we'll have a full contingent getting on the plane and getting over to Perth.
Angus Brayshaw said yesterday he's going to spend the next little while thinking about his contract. He hasn't yet. Will you get involved in that? Will you speak to him about that in that next little while when he does weigh up what's, I guess, the next move for him?
I hope he doesn't think too long. He's a pretty important player to us and someone that we love dearly. He's, he loves his footy club. He's in our leadership group. He loves his footy club, and I'm sure at the right time, and both parties have been really open about sitting down at the right time, which is, coming up shortly to really talk through what's best for our footy club and what's best for Angus and get a deal done. But what I do know about Angus, he's got enormous pride in the development of our footy club, where it sits currently, and the impact that he's been able to have on that. And I expect him to be a player at the Melbourne Footy Club for a long time to come.
Last couple, guys.
Just on Angus, Simon, I mean, this might sound a bit harsh, but does he owe anything maybe to Melbourne? I mean, he's won you guys at a flag as well, but the D's obviously stood by him early on in his career when he had those concussion battles and that. Like, would you begrudge him for looking elsewhere at the end of his career?
Angus Brayshaw will always be indebted to Angus Brayshaw for what he's given to the Melbourne Footy Club, and I don't expect anything more. I think he'll be a Melbourne player for most of his career, if not all of his career, and we look forward to getting that deal done shortly.